Okay, so today my presentation is about the contributing factors of vaping on the health and well-being of teenagers in the USA in the USA. Um, so here are my three CEPH foundational competencies, and here are my MPH track competencies. And here is my posters. So some introduction and background. In recent years, the United States has witnessed a profound shift in young tobacco use patterns with the rapid rise of e-cigarettes or vaping. The CDC and Prevention reported that 5.9% of U.S. middle and high school students, approximately 1.363 million individuals, are current vapers. This trend exists to college-aged young, as the National Institute on Drug Abuse documented a significant increase in nicotine vaping among college students, soaring from 6% in 2017 to 22% in 2019, with the non-college peers showing a similar surge from 8% to 18% during the same period. E-cigarettes attract young through features like diverse flavors, sleek designs, and a misperception of reduced harm compared to traditional tobacco. However, e-cigarettes contain nicotine, an addictive substance that poses risks to adults and brain development. Additionally, the long-term health effects of inhaling e-cigarettes aerosols remain unclear, intensifying the urgency to address this public health concern. So my research question is, against this backdrop, the central research question is, what factors contribute to vaping among U.S. teenagers, and how does vaping affect their health and well-being from a public health perspective? Answering this question is essential for developing effective prevention and intervention strategies to safeguard adolescent health and mitigate to growing public health crisis for young vaping. So my methods of this research to identify relevant studies for this narrative review, I employed a systematic search strategy across multiple authoritative databases and platforms, which include PubMed, Scopus, and CDC. The CDC's resources were particularly valuable as they contain national level survey data and research specific to public health issues in the United States. The search terms were meticulously crafted to comprehensively capture all dimensions of the research question. The terms included adolescent vaping, e-cigarette used by young, flavored tobacco products, teens, social media vaping influence, health effects of adolescent vaping, and public health interventions for teen vaping. By using these terms, the researcher aimed to retrieve studies that explore the prevalence, contributing factors, health impacts, and potential solutions related to vaping among U.S. teenagers. To ensure the retrieved data was relevant and up to date, the research was restricted to studies published in English between 2015 and 2024. This time frame was chosen to focus on the most recent research findings and trends in adolescent vaping, which have rapidly evolved in recent years. And here are some of my inclusion criteria, which include the unit of analysis and the time frame, search terms relevance, study type, and target population, also language. And here are some of my exclusion criteria like population mismatch, publication type, and also accessibility. So here it's the flow chart that I can show you my selection method, which I started with the PubMed 500, Scopus 700, CDC, and with the 50. And then I screened down some duplicates and some records screened. And I excluded 620 for such reason, and not focused on U.S. teenagers or adult-only studies or irrelevant to the study themes. And also for those eligibilities, I looked up through the full text articles. I excluded 350 for the following reasons. There are non-representative samples, or they did not address research questions, or it's inaccessible due to it's not free. And finally, I got like 10 papers and a breakdown by focused on contributing factors, health impacts, and also public health interventions. So my results and findings. Prevalence of adults and vaping. The 2024 National Young Tobacco Survey provides a comprehensive overview of the current state of vaping among U.S. teenagers. As shown in the table later, the overall prevalence of current e-cigarette use is 5.9%, with significant differences observed based on school level, race, ethnicity, and gender. And also, vaping behaviors and product preferences. Flavored e-cigarettes are extremely popular among teenagers, with 87.6% of users opting for fruit, mint, or menthol flavors. Disposable devices are the most commonly used type, accounting for 55.6% of all devices used by teenagers. Among disposable devices, Elf Bar and Braids are the leading brands used by 29.7% and 15.3% of users respectively. In terms of frequency of use, 38.4% of vapers use e-cigarettes on more than 20 days per month, and 26.3% are daily users. Additionally, 43.6% of those who have ever vaped have transitioned to current use, indicating a high rate of progression from experimental use to regular use. And also dual and concurrent substance use. Dual use of tobacco products is common among teenage vapers. In high school, 36.6% of vapers use more than two tobacco products, while in middle school, this figure is 38.9%. Cannabis vaping is also a significant concern, with the 30.6% of ever users reporting cannabis use. And this concurrent use of nicotine and cannabis products may have synergistic effects on the health of teenagers, further exacerbating the risks associated with vaping. So here is my chart. So for discussion, product design and marketing influence, e-cigarette design and marketing strategies are major drivers of young vaping. Flavored e-cigarettes, which appeal to the adolescent palate, which tastes like fruit and mint, create an illusion of safety and enjoyment. Qualitative research indicates that teens often perceive these flavored products as less harmful and more appealing than unflavored ones. Additionally, disposable devices priced affordably between $5 to $10 and designed to be discreet, facilitate easy use and access among teenagers, aligning with the industry practices criticized for targeting minors. And some social and media influence, those factors significantly contribute to the normalization of vaping among adolescents. Research shows that social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram have become vehicles for promoting vaping culture. Influencers on these platforms often portray vaping positively, making it seem trend and acceptable. A substantial 63% of average vapers have been exposed to vaping-related content online, and peer influence is also a powerful factor, as 47% of vapers report that their friends vape as well. And some demographic disparities and systemic factors, those are reflected in the notable disparities in vaping prevalence across different racial and ethnic groups. Now, Hispanic American, Indian, Alaska Native teenagers have a relatively high vaping rate of 11.5%, which can be linked to targeted marketing in tribal communities and limited access to prevention programs. Conversely, non-Hispanic Asian teenagers have a lower rate of 2.3%, likely due to cultural stigma against substance use, which serves as a protective factor. These disparities underscore the importance of considering systemic and cultural context when addressing adolescent vaping. Lastly, psychological and behavioral factors. Adolescents' psychological states and behavioral tendencies also play a role in the uptake of vaping. Stress and the research of relaxation are common motivators. Studies have shown that many teenagers facing academic pressures and social stressors turn to vaping as a coping mechanism. Additionally, the novelty-seeking nature of adolescent drives experimentation with vaping. The unique experience of inhaling vapor combined with the wide variety of flavors and the modern tech-savvy appearance of e-cigarettes devices, attracts teens who are eager to explore new things. Impulsivity and a lack of long-term thinking, typical traits during adolescence, further contribute to the likelihood of starting and continuing vaping behavior, as teens may not fully understand the potential long-term health consequences. So here are some recommendations to address the issue of adolescent vaping. Several recommendations can be made. First, stricter regulation of flavored e-cigarettes is essential. Policies similar to those implemented in Massachusetts, which saw a significant reduction in the young vaping after implementing flavor bans, should be adopted on a broader scale. Secondly, school-based prevention programs should be enhanced. Digital tools such as This Is Quitting app, which has been shown to increase quitting attempts among teens by 50%, should be integrated into school health education curriculum. Finally, future research should focus on longitudinal studies to better understand the long-term health impacts of vaping on adolescents. Additionally, more research is needed to develop culturally tailored interventions to address the specific needs of different demographic groups and reduce observed disparities in vaping prevalence. And here is my references, and thank you.